Hello, everybody. How we doing? Oh, come on. Really? There we go. There we go. Oh, yeah. Here we are, guys. Listen, the world's calling me. My phone's been ringing off the hook. Let's take a simple, gentle, deep breath in. Just take a simple, gentle, deep breath in. I'm here for the calm, everybody. I'm here for the calm. I'm also here for, I'm not here for a long time, but I am here for a good time. Listen, I want to show you this map of really what's going on. Are you guys ready? You guys want to see this? You're going to love this. Oh, there we go. That's more of an accurate depiction of what we should be talking about right now, right? Now, listen, I know you guys woke up in the middle of the night. Some of you didn't even sleep. You were watching results somewhere around 3 o'clock in the morning. You got another state, blah, blah, blah. You guys wanted this change. Here it comes. Now, let me wholesale say that I'm going to be a good citizen and say the words, if this was done in a free and fair way, I will fully support it, and that is our president. I agree with it. I will actively work against anybody that wants to work against kindness. If I am now the foil to this, but just to take stock for a minute, I am watching people revel. I mean, just arrogant, verbose. Ha ha! Here's your tissues. They've actually been screenshotting them, and I'm saving them because I do know that people need me and they need my gift. And I this is where my contemplation went this morning, my meditation, my what have you. Not everybody gets my kindness anymore. I didn't care who would come to shows. I would accept them where they're at. I would bring them through it. And maybe I'm a not good light worker all of a sudden, but I've been distracted because you put me in survival mode, quite frankly. I mean, if you want to kind of get excited about how much it's going to be, pain for you and fuck your feelings. Isn't that a favorite phrase? Just hear those words come out of my mouth. I mean, if that's how they want to be treated, that's how we'll treat them. Now, is that a civil war? I don't know. We haven't split apart at the seams yet with their bullshit. Why should we be worried about ours? It's funny. I've got some doozies out there. I brought it up last night in the live about a man that came to the show and then wrote me a very elongated email and was basically like, no wonder why you can't connect. You're too foolish to vote for her. Now, I've said on record, and I'll reiterate again, under no circumstance do I think that she was, the knight in shining armor. I didn't think that it was going to necessarily be what have you. But when you look at this in the contextualization of it, and you look at this as the energy, he defeated Hillary Clinton and now on paper, Kamala Harris. We're going to get to, you guys are going to leave hopeful, by the way. You're going to leave hopeful. By the way, this election isn't over yet. You guys didn't think it was over, did you? You guys did not think it was over. And I'm going to be blunt. You'd be a fool to think it's over. You'd be a fool to think that all of the people that are directly involved with this aren't going to fight on some level. Now, they might not sink to the lows that you've seen, but they're going to go, not really sure. And just for argument's sake with this, because you always kind of go down this, I'm pulling up the current election results, by the way, at 110. And We're watching her also close the number of votes, right? And it just is what it is. So pay attention to that. I want you to also pay attention to I want you to pay attention to how squirrely things are about to get. And we're just going to talk about astrology here. We're just going to talk about astrology because in the scheme of things, I had to find some solace through this. And I literally, when you do mediumship work, you go back and forth between having a truism that we're connected to. And I'm sorry, I'm getting stuff like this. Turn off my email here. And I really struggled with this because I'm watching people like literally tell me to go get tissues and go cry into my, MAGA hanky. And then I remembered the time that they came to me because they had a loss. And I showed them compassion. I certainly didn't shit shame them. And I look at the differences in the decisions that I should make. Now, you could easily make an argument saying, but Brandon, you do this for a living, so you have to do this. You have to put up with it sometimes. No, I don't. My energy is sacred. My energy is sacred. My gift is just that, a gift. I have to share it with you. Oh, but Brandon, if you're going to be a good light worker, you're not supposed to be judgmental. Oh, the quandary. You mean the part that they've taken advantage of? Uh-oh, I figured out their plan. Uh-oh, I figured out their plan. I did, didn't I? You see, playing dirty is when you don't play by the same rules, or you move the goalpost and you say, no, 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 the rules changed. And then meanwhile, you played the entire game with a certain set of rules. And I thought it was funny when the Yankees rightfully or wholesale lost the World Series. They lost the World Series. They were outplayed. They were out hit. They were out pitched. They were out whatever. And somebody posted, the Yankees didn't actually lose. We're taking it to court to refute the win. And I kind of laughed about it because I was kind of like, huh, okay. Now, does it make us not any better if we use the same tactics? I don't know. They just told us there's new rules. They simply told us there were new rules. Is it up to us to turn the other cheek? Is it up to us to still share our gifts, our greatness, our ability? I don't know. I don't know. You want to know the real moral dilemma? Your neighbor thinks you're a piece of crap for voting for her. I'm sorry, did things just get real? Gone are the good old days where we could just agree to disagree and my person won or your person won. And, well, I don't agree with their policies, but let's see what they can do. What I'm about to say to you is about as profound as I'm about to get. And I can get in this situation. Number one, this ain't over yet. The astrology screams. Am I really freezing here? The astrology screams that this is going to take longer than what you think. And by the way, every astrologer thought it was going to be because Trump was going to throw every sandbag freaking legal reason in the way. Every single one of them. But Brandon, there's like almost 5 million votes now ahead. Brandon, there's almost so much whatever. And listen, polls are polls, right? But you mean to tell me that absolutely none of the polls matched up with the results? Listen, I can take a state or two or even three, but across the board? There's reports about Russia collusion in the email networking that was going on. In the email networking that was going on, there was Russia collusion. There were wholesale things of a real bravado and a confidence. And let's just look at, and by the way, this, I'm going to teach you how to use your intuition with us. The dude didn't campaign the last 6 months. Once Kamala got involved, he just started to go, well, you're going to do that, I'm going to do this. They were worried more about a succession plan. They were more worried about a succession plan with J.D. Vance than they were and Project 2020. They were just like, yeah, we got it all together. And I'm sorry, you won the House, the Senate, control the judiciary and the presidency. It's a red wave. I'm sorry, what? Now listen, we run the risk of having parochialism, right? We tend to be friends with the people and watch the channels, right? Yeah, he did talk about a surprise. And by the way, he's stupid and arrogant enough to start to boast about it before it happened. Right? Something's up, guys. Wow, let the theories begin. Russia collusion. And by the way, that is a fact. I'm not speculating that. I believe it was Philadelphia officials actually found a breach, and it was connected to um, Russian emails and emails that originated from Russia. Again, let's just start adding up the facts. He was no longer canvassing. He was no longer campaigning. He was having rallies. He was throwing throwback shadows to, 1938, 39. He was trying to energize a base that would carry out marching orders, not be successful in an election. These are facts. This isn't me speculating. This isn't me whatever. He canvassed and had a rally, and it was a rally. It wasn't a convention. It wasn't a get out the vote. It was a rally where he had misogynistic, racist jokes. Like, it just mocked us. The whole thing mocked us. And then they catch Joe Biden saying in a soundbite, well, it's just garbage. Anybody that believes in that is garbage. He was basically saying, he was denouncing the hate that he was spewing. And then people took that as in, like, we got to take out the garbage. We have the right to question your intelligence here. I mean, if you're going to sit there and say, oh, we're not informed or we don't have the facts, for some reason, every single time you present a fact or a theory, it brings us into a basement of a non-existent pizzeria. It brings us into a conversation where there actually isn't anybody doing anything wrong, but there are technical things that happened and it needs to be rectified and punished. The entire MSNBC news team, should be worried right now because he's coming after them. Right? Michael Cohen, toast. Jack Smith doesn't have a career anymore. These are people that just told the truth. Cassidy Hutchinson, throw her to the wolves. I know you were voting for your rights. I know that you were voting for your sister's rights, your children's rights, the women in your life, and the migrants that didn't have a say yet. We needed to be voting for those people that he's going to target. If he were to get into office, he's going to go after the First Amendment. He's going to actually literally say, you are no longer eligible to report on anything in the White House, NBC, CBS, CNN. And listen, they haven't been stellar beacons of truthfulness either, but they keep reacting to a moving goalpost that Fox made. Fox is basically one step away from actually being what we would call entertainment, not news. Kind of sounds like the WWE, isn't it? Oh, I'm sorry. Where's Linda McMahon these days? Running his events? Sounds like he could get some coaching for a staged event. I will continue to go there. I hope for a big reveal. I hope for a reveal that we would have a step. This step would be the same step. Like, here's your crazy. Here's your nonsense. Here's your, I can't believe this is happening. Here's your whatever. Right? And then we're starting to realize that it's got to end at some point. Like, let's just do this. Right? Let's just roll this out. Let's just finish this. Let's just put it up for an election, have him lose, and then go from there. And then he has a press conference. He has a presser with the current Speaker of the House, which, okay, there's rules with it or against it, whatever. And he gives the wink, wink, nod, nod. We've got a special thing up our sleeve. The dude has told you exactly what he's going to do before he does it because he wants credit for it. Just on the basis of skepticism. That's where I'm at. There are some really good astrologers out there, and they have talked about how we need to be unbiased and all this other stuff. But virtually every single one of them talked about how this time frame would be about Trump's challenges and everything else. It's not Trump's challenges, it's Kamala's. Uh-oh. The astrological charts don't tell us anything except for the weather, except for the conditioning in which actions and reactions are prime or have opportunity for. We're going to go to the chart now. We're going to take a look at a few of these, of the dates coming up, and I'm going to tell you what we need to be prepared for. I'm going to play the what if game because, truth be told, every single astrologer sits there and says, I'm unbiased. And I'm going to tell you to swallow your fucking tongue. Excuse my French. You can't sit there and say I'm unbiased, but maybe this is this and maybe this is that. You've already instituted bias. Cut it out. Quit telling us how unbiased you are where you're telling us you're biased. Here is my bias. I want this country to survive. And I want this country to be in the purview of kindness. And I do want strong borders. And I do want to police the world still a little bit. I still want those things that will make America great again. But I want to do it in a way where we're not bullies. There's my bias. I'm a 51-year-old man that had the corporate corner office, and I walked away from it because I had a higher calling. I had a corporate job that I could put my feet up until I retired. I had it made. I had the key contracts in my back pocket, and I could have golfed on Fridays. But I turned it all in because I have a gift. And I have a calling. And here's my boundary, and this is an announcement. Don't tread on my gift. The people that need this gift will get it. The people that need this gift will get it. The people that want to tread on it, make fun of compassion, go ahead, stand over people and point at them and say, you might be crying right now. Hey, let's save all of our unhinged posts and put them out there. Okay. Stay classy. Every light worker struggles with doing the right thing sometimes. Every light worker struggles with doing the right thing sometimes. Every one of them. We don't have to use it for good. but I will continue to set my compass towards a goal. And if that means that I have to call people out, if that means that I have to stand in my own truth, that means I have to make it uncomfortable for you. Well, then I'm just doing my job. Go get your box of tissues. I'll wait. It's funny, I have somebody that the amount of disrespect is palpable, right? I had someone who had, come to some shows, and I thought it was very important to not delete things. Because, listen, I mean, what kind of a jerk am I if I just start deleting these people's influences, right? It's a free country, sort of. And I'm putting myself out there, so I want to hear from you. And this person literally, this is, by the way, this is a separate person. And I know we keep freezing, guys. I'm trying to fix it here on my end of it. But without merit, though, this is a person that came to a show of mine, several of them actually, and they were vulnerable. They were, they opened up. I connected with their father, and I gave them peace. I helped them helped them with closure. And again, I'm a facilitator. If you're good at this work, you become a facilitator. You start as a facilitator, but then you can become a catalyst. And by the way, I think that's my place in the world. I need to be a catalyst, an agitator, somebody that knows better. And this person, months ago, basically said to me, they were appalled that I had a political position. They didn't respect it. They shit-shamed it. They said, good luck at all your future events. Basically telling me to go kiss off, right? And instead of saying, oh no, I'm so sorry, please, oh my gosh, maybe you misunderstood me. I'm undecided. No, I said, oh, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. And I'm glad I was able to facilitate your healing. Guess this is the end of the road for us. But instead, he decided to come back onto my channel as a page. And it is not surprising that it is alcohol-based, his product. Like, the world needs more alcohol. And what's interesting is what he posted, by the way, like my dude be nice. Wish I thought of this one. I got cool shirts, but that's cool. And he decided to put a link for a mental health facility. He put a link to a mental health facility on my page saying this might help you. I'm sorry, what? He basically was insinuating that I was mentally ill because of my political view. He literally was trying to shit shame me for what? For what? Seriously. Right? So I simply responded to him. And I'm going to pull it up so I don't miss it. Yeah, my posts are blowing up over here. Okay, bye-bye now. I don't know. I can't find it, but it's funny because everybody just wants to kind of spew their take on it. And I've also watched people that have like backed down and have been like, I'm too tired to explain it to you. No, we have to explain it to them. They want to tell us that their $3 eggs are the problem. And we're like, we're not talking about eggs. We're talking about our children's right. If she concedes, isn't it over? I don't know. If I was in her camp, I would say, don't concede anything. Just say, we're going to let the process follow through. we're looking into a few things. And by the way, just because you conceded is not an official act. The only official act is January. Actually, it's December 20th, where the governors have to approve the slate of electors, and then January 6th for Congress then, right? Those are the two official dates you got to pay attention to. That's the actual official thing. You think NBC declaring the winner is the official? No. The AP? No. Bing? I mean, if that's what it comes down to, we can still just say, well, we officially say it's Kamala. But we would be just like them. Don't you see the quandary they have us in? If we fight this and say, hey, it's stolen, then they're like, it was ours first. Anyways, back on my fire meat person here. I remember when I delivered his father, and there was a lot of like unspoken things between the two of them. And oh, by the way, if you're going to come on my page and shit shame me, doors open. And if I get one ethical email about this, about how I don't have ethics, I'm going to politely say to you, come on my show and let's talk about it. Because I'm okay. I can stand in my position. I've gone through. I actually have this thing called an internal compass, an internal consciousness. And they were like, Brandon, we put you in the spot because we want you to talk about it, because these are the struggles people are having. And if you feel like you can rise to the banter to have a conversation with me about it, I'll send you the link. I will send you the link. If you think you can go toe to toe with me, I'm down. I'm down. I got a couple of things on my side. High IQ, education, and a bunch of spirit guides. So, all right, let's roll. Go ahead. Bring it down. Kiss a kiss before you go. Anyways. I remember delivering to him his father, a lot of unresolved stuff. His mother simply had a lot of unresolved pain. There was just loss there, right? And at the end of the show, or at the end of the reading, I came up to him, I gave him a hug, and I said to him, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. You put yourself out there as vulnerable. It's a guy. He's in a room full of people crying. Now he thinks I should be in a mental institution because I wanted to vote for somebody. It is a gift, not an obligation, and you can go F yourself. I've actually done the work on myself. What have you done? Made a couple of bottles of booze? Have fun. Good luck with that. You know, in the South, they say, bless your heart. Light workers are going to say, good luck with that. I want to show you a couple of things with astrology here. And by the way, those of you that missed it, this is my new current map. My new current map of the electorals. Those of you that are tuning in a little late, hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoy it. It's colored by numbers. All right. Let's take a look at Mars moving into Leo here today. It's kind of a big shit deal. Why? Because Leo unbiased. Go ahead and be non-biased, everybody. We'll be non-biased and go ahead and say, is this the precursor of Donald Trump's rise into all of this? Too arrogant, too cocky, too whatever? No, it's an opposition of Pluto as well, which is also significant to that. And the fact that Mars moved into Leo in the 7th house is about relationships. It's also about self-identity. This is cocky and arrogant, guys. So the astrology of all the people that you're meeting with today that are trying to shit shame you, yeah, let me tell you something. The energy is ripe. It's ripe up for the takings. Right? So you're going to deal with that on one side of it. Now, what does that mean on Kamala's side? Let's just present both sides, right? I mean, isn't that a way of like showing neutrality, equal time? Really, you're going to make fun of her laugh anyways. You are going to find a lot of the followers here and the people that are reveling in Trump's success be over their skis. They're going to over sexualize her as they have. They're going to tell her she's got to go back to the streets. They're going to tell her, which none of that stuff is okay. Like, none of it's true, first of all. And second of all, whatever. It's just their desire to over sexualize somebody that would never talk to them in real life. And then you have Kamala's side, which will be them pulling it together in terms of an empowerment placement, where Pluto is in the first house, in the confidence of, I'm pretty sure I think this is supposed to go a different way. And it will call on allies. It will call on people that will be there. It's also a level of deception. It is a level of deception because they want to suck you into it. By the way, I have 164 people on all the channels across it. By the way, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for watching. And this placement right here, the moving into Leo, is so prime. It's so prime, right? I also want to invite you guys to the Signs from Loved Ones class. By the way, because I am compassionate and because I do want people to find themselves because they go through stuff, right? And by the way, they are going through something too. And how they react to it is everything. If they want to be pompous and arrogant to it, just remind them of the lesson down the road. Oh, and by the way, when that person comes back to me and needs a reading, I'm going to be unavailable. I'm not sharing my gift with them anymore. And by the way, I'm not cutting him off. I'm just letting him know I'm not going to share my gift with him. Energy matters. And so do the signs that you have from loved ones after they're gone. This is a free class. You can pay what you will. You can do whatever it is that you'd like to. Maybe it's just a simple distraction for you, or maybe it's part of your recovery. Because the message here in all of this that you're going to hear me say is, we can only control us. So why not take a page out of your own journey and sign up for it today? So let's move forward. Let's take a look at Uranus. Now, Uranus is a big deal. By the way, these are days back to back, right? This is the 7th. This is tomorrow. And the reason why I'm choosing this date. So the sun is going to be in opposition to Uranus. It is conjunct to Lilith right now. Sun conjunct with Lilith is shining light on the brokenness that is, the struggles that you've had. It was kind of primed for Trump in the election, quite frankly. This is the thing that a lot of us talked about that were hesitant, right? We were hesitant because, the sun shining on the Lilith moon was about female repression, female pain. And now you have Uranus in opposition. When it moves into that 10 degrees off is when it starts. Hey, Tammy, how are you? Having the sun in opposition to Uranus is kind of a secret tool. It's a secret weapon. And by the way, as the sun transits through Scorpio here, honestly, it's one of the best placements we could have if we're going to get to the bottom of things. Right or wrong, right? Uranus is in a really peculiar placement. By the way, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are all in retrograde right now. All of them. What does that mean? We have incredible upheaval going on with our generational planets, right? But then we also have it connected to our personal planets. Jupiter and Saturn, as we know, for those of you taking my class right now, know that Jupiter and Saturn lay hand in not only our mission as an evolution for the composite of the world, but then also our personal conduct as well. Saturn focuses more on the larger at hold, as well as kind of our personal, right? So as it moves into the degrees of opposition here, Lilith is sitting there and it's going, hey, Lilith, I see what you're doing. I'm going to need some help. Uranus is about technology. Uranus is about uncovering and being rebellious. We all translated this. Every freaking person translated this as if it was going to be Trump challenging everything. It's Kamala that has to challenge everything. And by the way, will we see things? Oh, hell to the yeah. Hey, Mike Johnson, we've got a plan up our sleeve, don't you think? What do you think that is? Oh, I'm going to take the foot off the gas and not really campaign anymore. I'm going to have a party with a whole bunch of friends, and then I'm going to give a microphone a blowjob. I don't know. Sounds like Tuesday to me. He acted like a complete buffoon. Not that he's capable of anything else, but he wasn't serious about winning anything. Not in the least. Kamala's team was energized. The base was motivated. They were knocking on doors. They were canvassing. They were actually doing what you should do in an election. Trump's driving a garbage truck saying, "Thanks for calling us garbage." Oh, Sandra, you'll be able to hear the whole thing later. Now we have this opposition with a transit of the moon Uranus conjunct. I moved this a little bit off, and it's kind of a little bit in between, but I wanted to point something out here. So we talk about knowledge. November 16th, by the way, is incredibly important astrologically, because you also are going to have some really concrete truisms kind of come into play. I can do a whole video on it, but I just want to focus in on this right now. Because we're dealing with the anaric of Pluto. Pluto is in the 29th degree anaric. On November 16th, which we're going to look at here next, Pluto moves into Aquarius. The age of Aquarius begins, although in its infancy and not fully realized yet. A lot of astrologers realize that when Pluto moves into this, it is the long transit of Aquarius and all of the other planets are following. Because everything moves backwards in astrology, the planet furthest out has to move into it first, right? Just take that at face value. Having the moon at the 29 degree anaric Taurus in conjunct to Pluto is a really potent position. Because not only are we looking at, and by the way, let's go back here, intense disruption and awakening of the repressed. Here with the moon in Taurus, and by the way, Taurus is a jealous bitch. Taurus is like, I'm going to be the special one. And I'm telling Kamala to actually use that to her advantage. He's going to overstep his bounds. He's going to declare himself the winner. He's going to be like, I'm the God King. By the way, send that to Donald for me. This is the thing that every astrologer saw in the chart about riots. This is what every astrologer talked about with that. Will it also be the repression of, let's say, hey, listen, we're still recounting the votes, and them coming in and going, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. We don't want to hear about your stupid freedoms. Who, Joan in Texas wants her vote recounted? Screw her. She voted for the wrong one. All right, you bullies. By the way, it's also the bully mentality as well. Because go ahead and look at this. Having Mars in opposition to Pluto, let's just count it down, kids. It's going to be wild. It's going to be a good time. Either way, we're going to be fine. I mean, World War III will still be fine. You're going to lose every single one of your rights. And by the way, as somebody that owns a publishing company, I'm a little worried. A little worried. Maybe your book doesn't cut mustard. Maybe it doesn't reach our standard. Even though they have absolutely shit on every standard that we've ever had, all the social norms and social contracts that we may have had. But Mars opposite of Pluto is about the power struggle, and it reveals the inner strength and the fortitude. Don't you get it, guys? Keep going. Do you guys just think I was kind of in the moment telling you to not give up? It's a battle cry. You have Uranus on the ascending at the time that Pluto moves into Aquarius, at the exact moment that Pluto moves into Aquarius. You have Pluto in the 9th house, and you have Mars in the 3rd. The 3rd house rules communication, brotherhood, connection with one another, how we talk to one another. The 9th house is about discovery, enlightenment, knowledge, learning, travel, how the world sees us. Uranus sitting on the rising here at Taurus. And by the way, we also go through. Do you know what else is happening here with Uranus? It's conjunct Algol, guys. Oh, by the way, Algol is the root word of alcohol. He's such a dick. You have the sun shining bright in opposition on Uranus, on the descendant. And by the way, it had just flipped over the line, still in opposition up to 4 degrees. 4 degrees Sagittarius. Oh, and by the way, when the sun gets into Sagittarius, this election has a whole other set of problems. We're just talking about uncovering and unraveling the crap. And by the way, I'm not just hanging on to it. If I didn't feel that my gut, which by the way is my career, if my intuition was like, well, he won, I would literally be sitting here saying, well, he won. The astrology doesn't speak to it. My gut doesn't speak to it. The facts don't speak to it. Right? Oh, and by the way, that doesn't make me a conspiracy theorist. I'm just telling you how I feel. And when somebody expresses your feelings, I mean, part of the reason why they don't want your feelings to come into play is because they don't want you to trust your intuition. By the way, here are a few other things. Yeah, by the way, guys, I'm here to share this with you. You're not the only ones. You're not crazy. I did not feel good about Ivanka passing. I did not like how she went suspiciously down a flight of stairs and then buried in the backyard as a tax write-off. Those things didn't sit well with me. Him meeting people from all over the world while secret documents were in the basement didn't sit well with me. 2, 3 towers falling in free fall on 9/11 don't sit well with me. I'm just giving you my facts. I'm giving you my intuition. I'm giving you my constitution, my sovereignty, my agency. And it's ironic that when you start to question something, as soon as it works against them, they're not in the mood for truth seeking. We are not a truth seeking species. It's part of the reason why it's so refreshing to speak like this. We're so damn committed to conform because you don't want to get fired, you don't want to be shunned, and you still want to have your friends. And by the way, Shannon brings up a point. All the astrologers have literally said Trump's not going to win. Like if you were to take a poll, it would be like an 80-20. I saw a few that called for Trump. But I'm going to go here with this. We ain't in usual times anymore, guys. Our charts are only so good as the information that we have in front of us externally. You see, astrology is about the weather. We can't tell you to bring the umbrella or not. We can't tell you that every raindrop is going to be. And it's interesting because there's something that we can kind of glean from this too, from a personal standpoint. I mean, we're beginning to understand we have to not fall into the martyr complex. Oh God, I love YouTube. I love YouTube. It lets people kind of unchecked just jump right in and be like, "You're a nut job. Thank you. I'm not for everybody, but thanks for watching. You're helping my algorithm." Evanescence. It's okay. I'll do a little research afterwards. I'll dig some stuff up on you, and we'll go from there. By the way, your grandmother says hi. Or maybe he's supposed to take over and just implode. Maybe January 6th was a template. Maybe we have to get angry enough to storm the Capitol, and we all, in our common sense, don't want to do that. We want the right things to happen. We don't want to have to fight for anything. Maybe that's what it comes down to. There's smart people on both sides. It's just, where's the intention? Where are the intention? You mean to tell me that we went into an election that was basically a dead heat? And most of us were like, I don't really think it's a dead heat, but okay. Right? No, Pretty P. Hey, Pretty P, please sign up for the Signs from Loved Ones. She posted, "Can you tell my mom in heaven I need her today because I'm devastated?" Why do you think I planned the class on November 7th? You need a day to recoil. Tomorrow will be a different day. We'll reveal new things. And by the way, I reserve the right to change. I reserve the right to grow. The naive me used to give my gift away and be like, I'm here to help everybody. Right? Listen, let's not get caught up in the gravity of what could happen with all of this negativity. Let's stay in the moment and say some other things have to happen. We have to verify. We have to really pull things back and look under the carpet. Right? Oh, and by the way, everybody that is celebrating his victory will throw every single wrench and every single nonsense at you and at the process and be like, how is that fair? Shut up. Shut up. We haven't formed an insurrection yet. Hey, Corey, how are you, friend? Hello, my bearded buddy. Yeah, God forbid. I saw one of the coolest things on one of my posts. Somebody went down the path of like they were super negative about whatever it is that I said, and they're like, I'm a veteran and I don't, right? Um, and they were really struggling. And somebody, one of you who's on right now, I'm sure, posted a link that helps veterans and say, hey, have you tried this resource? And I know you're frightened. I know you're worried, but let me say something to you. You got up today. I didn't want to get up this morning. I didn't want to get up this morning because I check my phone every half hour. And somewhere in the middle of the night, I went, shit. Threw my phone across the room. But it's beginning to make sense once I was able to process it. Hate is not going to win, guys. I don't care if he's elected or not. The age of Aquarius, which is what we're being prepared for, it is up to us to show the next generation how to handle this and how to install this. And if you thought that this was going to be easy, you are on the wrong friggin' planet. If you thought this was easy, you're on the wrong planet. Somebody jot that down. I'm talking to you, Katie. One of the beautiful things, oh my God, you just wrote it down, didn't you? Yeah. Pretty P, please go to my website, sign up for the class. You will find it to be very beneficial. Because in times of trouble, right? Oh, Donna. And listen, if there's Trumpers at my show, like I really went through this. Like I went through this in my mind, and I'm sharing this with you because it's just us girls. I knew you would, kid. Do I start to say to people, "Nah, I don't want you to," I don't want you to, I don't want you to come to my show. No, no, that's not the belief system I should employ. Can I be selective? Should I be more selective? Maybe. Energy tends to be a sacred connection and exchange. And sometimes you connect people, on the casual, like, hey, open the door for you. Thanks again. In other times, we can go deep with people. They're just letting you know you can't go deep. They're letting you know that they don't have a depth to themselves. And I'm not shaming them. I'm just telling you where they're at. Don't spend your time on it. Oh, and I know a lot of light workers watch what I do. And I'm here to share with you, maybe we don't help everybody. Maybe we get selective. I mean, listen, the idea that we're supposed to help everyone has put us in this position to begin with. You remember when we used to respect everybody and say, I don't agree with you, but you can certainly do or think whatever it is that you want to do, right? Okay. Well, let the hate speech flow. Well, I have a freedom to say it. Yeah, but that's not okay. And then it turned into something more with, hey, we want to make sure that you believe in what we believe in, right? You got to put yourself first. First lesson of the age of Aquarius, put yourself first. Do not get guilted into anything. Don't get shamed into anything. Period. Yeah, I brought it up last night in the live. And people were in a position where they were literally, I had heard from more than one person that they were presenting that they were voting for Trump, but they were secretly going to vote for Kamala. In a microcosm, that's part of what I'm talking about. To keep the peace at home, they would be like, yay. And then when they went into the booth, they'd be like, Kamala. And they were worried about that vote getting out. They were worried about those things getting exposed because they're in abusive relationships. We are a social creature. We're so damn programmed to try and fit in that we forget the idea that we need to be truth-seeking. That they need to try and be fit in. And by the way, when everybody on the schoolyard is making fun of the kid, you don't stop to think to yourself, oh, the bully's in charge. This is bullying. Listen, I made fun of the kid in grade school. And I since went back to him and said, dude, I had no idea what it was like to go through what you went through. No idea that you were struggling. And I'm just letting you know I've grown and I'm matured and I understand, you were the weird kid in school and now I'm happy that you're married to a man. I'm sorry that I was a part of any of that with you, but I just want you to recognize that I learned from it and I'm not going to let that happen again. How about a dose of honesty? So, sorry I'm not doing any readings here, but I'm not sure that that's the way to go. As a group, as a movement, as an idea of kindness, you can't waver, you can't back down. You have to be able to put yourself out there, be vulnerable, and not everybody can do it. Listen, I talked to the team and said, hey, I'm about to do this. You cool with it? Sort of. Be safe. They might care about me, but they don't necessarily, they might agree with me or not agree with me, and that's okay. I have friends that are die-hard Trump people, but I'm not going to share my gift with them until they see themselves through it. It's a thing. I know that might make me sound self-centered or crazy. I talk to dead people for a living. I know what I've been shown. I know my role. I know that people that don't get it are going to mock me. Hey, Brandon, you should have seen this coming. Well, actually, it's amazing what I don't share. Because it's your sovereignty and you need to go through it. Where are we on the respect level? We're not. We're not. The astrology points to an overturned election, guys, or at least a challenged election. It still has all the hallmarks, and you can go back and listen to anything that I put out there, Penny put out there, whatever. We talked about this time of turmoil. 15 million votes missing. That's a lot. That seems like a bit much. Yes, Rebecca. Yeah, Lady Anne, I love you, but pick up and move? You're going to run from a challenge? The challenge will just find you in another way. We can match their energy and stay sovereign to our path. We can match their energy. If you put disrespect towards us, okay, I'm going to give it back to you. Right? Hey, Raji, how are you? You can see this on YouTube after. In a nutshell, this election isn't over. In a nutshell, there is an opportunity that things are going to be challenged. It's in the astrology. And by the way, it's what we talked about. We just looked at it through the purview of Trump. We thought this was going to be Donald Trump doing this. We thought it was going to be Donald Trump challenging everything. Kamala Harris has to challenge it. You're just going to look like them. Okay, we're matching energies, guys. The high road doesn't work with hate. Got it? And by the way, they love the fact that you're disgruntled. They love the fact that you're frustrated. They love the fact that you want to go to another country or you're done with this. They want you disenfranchised. That gives them more power. No, 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 no. Somebody posted a thing, and I actually want to do something a little more in depth, but it actually showed the breakdown of every race and gender for voting. And I think it was for New York State. I have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure it was New York State. And I'm going to take that question, Elizabeth. Give me just a second. And what I found really interesting was that, it was a couple of things that were like super shocking, right? to me was, white males were still at like 74% voting for Trump. And I was like, okay, thought we'd be a little more even than that. But it was like 32% white women voted for Kamala. I'm sorry, what? That one I didn't see. That's the reason why I'm kind of scratching my head with a lot of this stuff. And again, we have recency bias, the things that we feel emotionally and initially. We also have, the dome philosophy, the people that are in your um that's funny. Wow, that's some serious stuff. But to within our purview, the people that you're going to be friends with are going to have a very similar, thought pattern. Well, I'm a white male and I've been in a lot of bands and I've seen a lot of people and I have a lot of friends and I've done a lot of business. Oh, Donna, I'll take that one too. But, we begin to realize that something's amiss here. Something's really amiss. And it's in the gut. And it's not just because I wanted him to win. Like, if you told me he won 51% to 49 and the electoral votes just went his way, I genuinely would have said, okay. Eh. Hey, Mike Johnson, we've got a surprise, don't we? Right? So why are Republicans hateful? By the way, there's hate on either side. Let me start by saying that. By the way, how you feel the visceral response is a hate response, which is exactly what they want. Right? I couldn't help but think, do you remember in Ghostbusters when they're like, okay, clear your mind. Clear your mind. Don't think of anything. Why? Because whatever pops into our head will be our destructor. And then it's like, and then they're looking around, they're like, you have chosen the form of your destructor. You've chosen your form of destructor. And then all of a sudden we're like, wait, I didn't think of anything. You didn't think of anything. And then he's like, I thought of the most harmless thing I could. It was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. That there was this collective consciousness of like, hey, we kind of needed it to go through those steps. And we've chosen the form of our destructor. Hang on a second, though. One of the other dynamics to this and the thought process of everything that's gone on here is how much has been manipulated. Right? Aren't we finally getting to a point where we can begin? I think about how close we were, guys. Why do they hate? They were uncomfortable with that there was a black man in the White House. We still call it a White House. We still keep statistics as to white male voting patterns, white female voting patterns, minority voting patterns. We still keep track of that stuff. We aren't one people. We're one statistic. Let's start calling it what it is. It's one statistic, right? So looking at it from the perspective of where we're at, Republicans hate because they were catered to hate. There was a faction, and I believe it was a small faction, of people that were genuinely full of that racist rage. I'm not going to call them the N-word. I'm going to start calling them the N-word because I don't want it in the lexicon. I don't want it in the consciousness. They were, without a doubt, projecting themselves to be like, you are poisoning the blood of our nation. Anybody that uses conversation like that is a dog whistle to that faction. And then that faction says, we're important. Don't you want to come along with this? Yeah, you know what? Now that you say it. Oh, by the way, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Yeah, another reason to hate. Another reason. Forget about whether it's true or not. It doesn't matter. Robert Rule had a great special about 15 years ago now. And he talked about how the lie became fact in so many different ways in society. Oh my gosh. George Carlin, Robert Rule, they nailed it. They nailed this farcity because we saw it. We didn't see it as a vulnerability. If Donald Trump ran in 1999, he'd been laughed out of office. He would have been a laughingstock. But for 35 years, he played both sides. He moved back and forth. He's a con artist. That's what he does. He cons people. Why do Republicans hate? Because the con artist told them to. That's why. As a former registered Republican, I'm here to tell you it's actually the furthest thing from their minds once upon a time. You know what they wanted? They wanted fiscal responsibility. They wanted to see that we were upholding a traditional value system while assimilating the changes that were coming. It was change, but not change too fast. And it was very left of center, just left of center. Because I was fiscally conservative, but I thought socially we could, we needed some gaps here. We needed some pumping the brakes. And then one day I sat down and I'm like, I marry gay people. I think those social programs are really important because we're not conquering the suffering out there. We misspend it. We misuse it. Maybe we should focus more on how to execute that. And I'm very open about this. I became a Democrat in the middle of all of this because in my own hometown, we had a guy that was literally stealing money from the bank. He was taking money from the coffers and putting it into his own pocket, and I didn't want him reelected. And I tried to stop him at the primary because in that town, there were no Republicans that were worth their salt to move forward for the last, 75 years. So I switched the party for two reasons. One, I'm completely disenfranchised with what the Republicans represent now. But do they hate? Only if you tell them to. True story. Another great question here. Donna, yes, and I will see you here next week, in a few days. I thought the age of Aquarius was supposed to reveal all the darkness. Well, now, isn't that what we're doing? I mean, isn't that what we're doing? You cannot uncover the darkness without going through something. You cannot go into the dark night of the soul until you realize that there's a reason why you have to do some introspective work. You cannot say that it's broken unless you talk to it to say that's broken. How about that one? So are we going into an age of darkness? I don't know. I know that every 250 years, give or take a few years, every great society either crumbles or grows, changes the strategy, moves it in a different direction. Maybe Donald Trump is just what we need. Maybe we need to conquer the world. Maybe we need to make America first, the Northern Hemisphere. Maybe we need to. But at what cost? At what cost? Right? Think about the resonance of what is going on around the world. You have North Korea joining forces with Russia to fight Ukraine. If that's not a red freaking flag, who's going to back Ukraine now? NATO? The guy that said he's going to unplug us from NATO? We won't be in any wars, and the rest of the world will suffer. Not my problem. Isolationism. We're number one. We can't be number one in isolation. Right? Is this when things get dirty? Is this when things go seedy? And by the way, I am highly critical of what Biden and Kamala Harris have stood for with the Middle East. Hamas needs to be held accountable, but also brought to the light that there was real suffering going on. Real suffering. There was embargoes, there were whatever. Netanyahu is not really the best leader himself. Susanna, this has everything to do with the U.S. Pluto return. Everything. Wait till we start going through the Uranus return. And by the way, the video is almost ready to go. Just wait until 11/19/24. Randall, how did you know? How did you know? By the way, in case you guys missed it, I actually talked about that. Because taking a look on November the 19th, this is when Pluto moves into Aquarius. 100%. Right? Don't give up, guys. This is a reason why I'm here. Don't give up. I understand your trepidation. I understand the grief that you might be going through. But do you remember when you lost your loved one? Do you remember when you lost your person? Do you remember when you thought, my life should be over? I can't get out of bed. I miss them so much. And then you met somebody like me. And I gave you proof of life. I gave you proof of spirit. I gave you proof of connection. And even though it might not be the same, you still felt at ease because you knew they weren't gone. That's what I'm delivering to you today. This ain't over yet. When they pass away and they go, they're not gone. They have changed. They've changed their dynamic. You can still be connected to them. It's not the same. I get it. But this is your growth too. Instead of it being the comfortable thing at the person at the end of the couch, it then becomes something that comes to you in a little more esoteric way. Right? This Age of Aquarius thing is going to smack them hard, man. Because it will be about personal accountability. The hallmarks of Aquarian energy, moving from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarian, is that we will lose our codependency to rely on others for our own happiness, our own survival, and our own thought process. Right? The age of Pisces brings us to a place of codependency. We need the government. We need people. We need relationships to act in a certain way. But as many of you know, I mean, look at the divorce rate over the last 35 years. We are ripping apart the idea that codependency has been a problem. We don't need to be till death do us part. You need to be an active participant in this relationship to make it work. You need to be somebody that I can rely on that complements my skills and abilities. So in the age of Aquarius, partnerships and relationships will be, I bring this to the table, you bring this to the table. If you don't bring this to the table, this isn't a good relationship for me anymore. Oh, and by the way, we have been priming ourselves with our language. We've been priming ourselves with the things of saying, oh, I get rid of whatever it is I no longer need, no longer serves me, no longer... Right? We're going through this in a way that we're discovering that we are a sovereignty. We're responsible for our own happiness, right? We're responsible for our own ideas. We're responsible for our own creativity. We're responsible for our own way of life. I know the long systemic problems with what goes on, with what's going to go down in Ukraine, what's going to go on in the Middle East, what's going to go on the border. There's no reason for us to sit here and sugarcoat it anymore. It's going to be awful. Terrible. What's our job? You want to go all vigilante and go down to the border and help me out? and take care of all those people. We're not structured to do that. We expect to put people in charge to be structured to do that. And by the way, the immigration thing actually just needs resources. We need more judges to hear the cases of the people coming over. It's a simple fucking solution. And by the way, you've got some dollar stores that just closed. You got some Applebee's that are no longer in business. Put the courts in there. Line them up outside. Give them some chicken tenders in the meantime. Let's get going. We are obsessed with the problem because that's where the grief is. We're obsessed with the problem because that's where the grief is. Why do Republicans hate? Why are we coming out of the darkness? Because we got to go through it. We got to go through it. Thank goodness we're alive. Thank goodness we're evolved to the point that we are. But is it our responsibility to save everybody in the age of Aquarius? The answer is no, we're not. In the age of Pisces, light workers felt that they needed to help and protect everyone. We just did. Oh, they need to read. I don't care what they're, but I don't, they need love. They need compassion. I can show them compassion and not share my gift. Good luck with that. We can design a connection with people that is tailored to our energy that keeps them at length's bay. Right? This is about us learning our own empowerment. They're going to make fun of you. Okay, thanks for hardening the shell. They're going to say, hey, go ahead and move to another country. Okay. You wanted a civil war, but it's not about borders. It's about boundaries. All of you just went, oh shit. They have you distracted. They have you distracted to boundaries or to borders. This is about borders. This is about keeping people out. This is keeping people, so forth and so on. It is about boundaries. More detachment. Yes. What is Aquarius? Any Aquarius moons out there? Sometimes we let people in, sometimes we don't. This is about boundaries, not borders. Your task in all of this, right? Your task in all of this is to raise your emotional IQ. Sustain whatever it is that they've thrown your way. Let them make fun of you, but adjust accordingly. Change your sail. They told you which ways their winds blow. Okay. And again, are they going to need us? Probably. But are we going to help them? I don't know anymore. I just don't know. Oh, Brandon, that's a terrible career move. I know what I'm doing. Oh, Brandon, is there, what if somebody really needs your help? I don't know if I could subscribe to people that need me all the time, but never reciprocate and never, you hear this thing about passing it on, right? You hear this thing about, people like, hey, if I hold the door open for somebody, I hope they hold the door open for somebody else, right? Pass it on, pass on this goodwill. But if you show me that I'm going to hand you my goodwill and you're going to shit on it later, you ain't getting it anymore. I'm going to believe you. I'm going to meet you where you're at. So before you go changing your visas, by the way, I saw a clip and I was trying to find this earlier. I'm going to look this up. Closes. Yeah, no, this was last year. This wasn't this year. There was something about Canada will not be accepting any change of residency until after February 2025, and that's if they do it again. And I kinda chuckled, and I kinda chuckled because I was like, "Really, Canada? Et tu, Brute? Et tu, Canada?" Oh, by the way, have you heard of Lee Greenwood's favorite, release? It came out about 10 years ago, and it's how does it go? "I'm proud to be a Canadian. At least I know I'm free." Anyways, I just thought I'd point that out, and you can Google that. And the man has grifted on more than one country. Why stop now? And by the way, I don't disparage the guy. I mean, it's not like he makes millions of dollars off of it, but everybody knows who he is, and I'm sure he makes a couple of bucks off of the grift on his Bible. Oh, and yeah, let's go here. Let's talk religion for 5 minutes. Why do you think that they are evoking God? How many people have seen those posts that say, God saved Trump for a reason? Boy, that just triggered a few of you. He was saved. They tried to shoot him. They tried to assassinate him twice. God, here we go. When Stephanie McMahon is responsible for your live presentations and it looks like bad acting, it is. Got it? And by the way, I don't wish ill will on somebody. I don't want to see somebody shot. But if you're not going to fully investigate why a kid who was linked to BlackRock, who was linked to a whole bunch of other stuff, God is a neutral party. Right? There is an opportunity for leaders to emerge. Are you a leader? Are you going to stand up to your brother, to your family member, to that person that shits on you for all the things that you just are? And by the way, no hero complex. By the way, the failed assassination attempt and everybody's praise of it was 100% playing into the God complex and the hero complex that so many people need, right? They're like distraught Dallas Cowboys fans that haven't won forever, right? God didn't save him. It was a bullshit thing. You know, what I'm about to say is just using his words. I like, yeah, it's the stuff that gets you in trouble. If somebody was going to calculate to assassinate somebody, they wouldn't have missed. They wouldn't have been able to sit on a roof for 10 minutes without somebody noticing them. Right? There are just so many facts around that just go, I'm sorry, what? And yeah, I know somebody died, but doesn't that play into the art? And anybody with a moral high ground would say, like, I don't want people to die. Like, I'm all for a little political stunty. I'll drive the dump truck, but I don't want the guy behind me to die. Not him. He'll step over him. He'll raise his fist up and make sure you get a good photo op. He will have 5 Secret Service agents that have never done that work before that suddenly got elevated and hired for that particular gig. It's a stage show. It's a fucking stage show, guys. It's a stage show. Your gut isn't wrong. No, Paulie. We're not crying. No, we're not crying. We figured you out. We'll save you the tissues. Right? All right, Paulie. When you say you guys, who are you talking to, Paulie? Do you even know who I am? I mean, you're on my... No, we don't love war. We actually think war is stupid. Right? I mean, isn't this kind of the way that we're in? And by the way, thanks for tuning in. You're helping my algorithm. Were you trolling to see... were you going to see things? No, we're in our own rally meeting. We're seeing it for what it's worth. Right? I'm literally telling people that get your act together so that then we no longer... I don't know what the right word is. Put up with it anymore? I mean, listen, I don't disparage anybody. But if you think that... But all that I'm doing here is literally just confirming what so many other people are feeling. We no longer want to be a part of an angry mob. And are you going to walk all over us? Right? Oh, actually, Paulie, I'm well aware of this. I'm well aware of how much war has happened. I'm also going to tell you that the back channels have been active. And the players are afoot. Right? Yeah, it's funny. Shelley brings up the Aquarius moon, ditto. I feel like Phoenix rising. I am feeling strong, and like I'm willing to lead into battle for friends and family. We have to gather in groups we know are safe. Hey, do you work with tarot at all, Shelley? Because if you take a look at the Wheel of Fortune card, take a look at Wheel of Fortune or the World card, Aquarian is opposite the dragon, basically, which is Scorpio. So, of course, you're feeling it. Of course, you're feeling it that way. Yeah, wars are not good. And listen, if you think that peace is going to come just because Trump wins the election, at what point do we sell ourselves out for the world betterment? Just because you don't want to be in a fight doesn't mean that there is... And listen, I'm critical of the Biden administration and how they handled Hamas. You're coming in halfway through and you're throwing shit around. Sit down, son. Sit down. Sit down. I've shared my points of view on this. You just tuned in late and you want to shit talk. Fucking child. I think the war in the Middle East is actually completely avoidable. We need to quit sending stuff to them so they keep fighting each other. Ukraine is a legitimate thing. And by the way, buddy Putin going, hey, remember when they wouldn't do your dirty bidding and find out shit on Biden? Well, let me tell you something. We'll just do a little invasion here. You have any idea how much in the wake of things we've had to clean up from the original Trump administration? I mean, what I insinuated was that Donald J. Trump was okay with the guy being shot behind him for his fucking stunt. Get the whole facts. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to share it. I'll be clear. I'll recap. His assassination attempt smells to high hell. The guy sat on the roof for 10 plus minutes and nobody noticed him. He was able to circumvent security. He was able to get in there. They had Secret Service agents that were suddenly put on assignment that had never done it before. And by the way, we have not seen in the public limelight since. And guess what? I'm questioning whether or not the motives of that assassination attempt was real. Because people that are going to call that shot are going to miss. They're not going to hire a teenage kid to do it. And is he crazy? Okay, fine. You want to go down that route? But given the presentation that Donald Trump would know full well that somebody might get hurt at one of his stunts, he would walk right over them. He tried to hang his vice president. Yeah, Paulie. And by the way, anybody that has ever been connected, he moved at the last millisecond. Well, then what a drama. And then he was so lucky. God saved him in that moment. And Donald Trump in that moment knew that he needed to stand up against the common sense and all of his training in all the things that they ever told him about. If somebody ever takes a shot at you, my job is to protect you. But first, a photo op. Dude, sit down, son. He was willing to risk his life at a minimum and the Secret Service around him that were already putting their life at risk. That's what I'm talking about. Thank you, Jerry. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not okay with anybody being shot. I'm not. I'm not even in the least. But I'm telling you, with the mentality of the showmanship, of him trying to grift on whatever showmanship shit he could do, everything from riding garbage trucks to Vance going to restaurants and surprising them so he can't get in, to failed assassination attempts. And when given the microphone, he literally talks about the most minute thing in the corner of the country, which I'm not saying don't pay attention to, but you're the president. It's big problems. We have to solve big problems, not they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. That is a byproduct of the problem. The problem is the border, and you're talking about deporting people because they're eating the dogs and eating the cats. You're actually not trying to convince anybody that you want a solution. You're trying to villainize people. That has been our grift from the beginning, Paulie. And as soon as you think he's reached a new level, why wouldn't he collude with Russia? I mean, let's just go there, guys. Why wouldn't he say to Russia, go ahead and, let me give you the code so then you can get in there? Way more problems from the last 4 years? Like what? Oh, I'm sorry. Their price of eggs, right? Hmm. The economy is a complex organism. The economy, Paulie, I don't follow MSNBC or CNN. I don't. Joke's on you. And I do listen to things like Joe Rogan, who's completely lost my respect in the last 72 hours. And I do listen to things that are on the right wing. No, I'm not listening to Charlie Kirk because he's a flat out racist and a misogynist. But am I going to hear what they have to say? I have. I'm telling you what intuition is. And by the way, before you start saying, what is intuition? Son, sit down. The grown-ups are here. The economy? The economy is a complex organism that has several pressures that are connected to it. You have the basic economy, which is If this but for. In other words, if you have something that I need, this is what I'm willing to barter or trade for you in. It was the original seashell economy. I have 3 seashells, you have 3 ears of corn, let's exchange. Oh, I have 3 potatoes, you have 3 seashells, and we exchange them. Basic economy. What are the effects of an economy? Supply and demand, manipulation that can be manipulated, marketing, strategy, all of these things that begin to go into it. And then over the course, and since 1929, which, by the way, after the stock market crash, we started to put in safe measures that allowed us to expand our investment into things so that then we can have things like startups and things that are also making money kind of behind the scenes to say, I believe in this product, or I believe in this company, I believe in this agency, whatever the case may be. And then all of a sudden, over time, we started to pull away and loosen all of those restraints so that then now your 401k, your retirement, your American dream is tied to the profit margin that you're getting on your 401k. What has happened in the last 4 years, and I'm going to even say the last 12 years, and I'm going to point the finger clearly at the Obama administration. What are you going to do with that, Paulie? When things were deregulated, were things that were too big to fail, and we went ahead and regurgitated it into the system to pay for itself. Instead of letting what a true economy should have done to say, if you break the rules, you can't play the game. Well, if you're a grifter like Trump, you look at that and you say, showtime. Showtime, everybody, I'm in. And listen, I can disagree with Trump's policy because he's a child and he talks about things in a vacuum and he doesn't really fully understand it. He's a functional illiterate, abuser, felon, grifter, blasphemist. I mean, the list goes on, right? But I understand you need cheaper eggs. I get it. You need cheaper eggs. So let's go back to there. We have a dynamic about economies that, and my favorite thing is look at that oil price. Do you realize that Joe Biden actually opened up all of our spigots and we've produced more oil in the last 4 years as a country than we have in the previous 14? What do I think will happen? I think we have to become. I think we have to become conscious. I think we have to leave all this nonsense and malarkey around because look at all the energy that it's been taking, all the hate that's bestowed. You didn't want to, but you woke up hating somebody today. You're good people, but you woke up hating people. Right? That's not us. That's not us. And by the way, we were very much all part of the idea that, win, lose, or draw, we got to deal with people and we got to do this. And, it's my brother-in-law. It's the crazy brother-in-law. It's the uncle that comes over. Who's stoking the fire? I'm stoking the fire of hate? No, I'm a safe haven for a community touch hole. Yeah, I just insulted you. You come in here like you act like you know what the hell's going on. You don't know me, but you love to understand. You love to, you don't see how that's just like, I'm just going to throw this and be banter. Okay, Paulie, this is a community. This is a community of people. I've got a bunch of videos out, been at it for a while. I have a book, a YouTube channel. I travel the world. I'm actually pretty successful in my own right. That doesn't mean that I'm world famous. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm most successful ever. I came to everybody today to say, I get it. I understand it. And by the way, maybe this whole thing has to do with empathy and sympathy. Oh, I know those things that make you roll your eyes. But if you took a little bit of time to figure it out, maybe I don't want you to figure it out, Paulie. Maybe I don't want these people that are trying to manipulate again to figure it out, what empathy really is or what sympathy is. Oh, wait a minute, they did. They played on your heartstrings and gave you fear about the border. that your economy is going to go to hell, that you're in the middle of World War III, all of those things. Yeah, Paulie, listen to me. I'm influential. They call out bullshit. I mean, I appreciate your banter and everything, but you've actually proven my point. Listen to the condescending, sanctimonious horse hockey. I know who I am, Paulie. Do you know who you are? And by the way, thank you for the compliment. I am going to look down on hate because I know we're better than that. I also know that as a leader, you put a pretty big bullseye on your back, and thanks for taking your shot. You missed. I want to thank you for tuning in. Yeah, the concession speech will come. It's not over. Guys, don't go insulting him. Listen, he took courage, right? Again, this isn't a time to turn and run. It's time to strategize. This isn't over yet, guys. Go ahead and rewind and listen to the astrology of what's going on. More to be revealed. More to upheaval. Oh my gosh, you're inciting riots. It's not like I'm standing on the ellipse saying it'll be wild. I mean, it's not like I'm saying, hey, I'll hire all your lawyers and get you out for free. No, I'm pulling together light workers and like-minded people, which, by the way, is a threat to you, Paulie. And giving them a beacon of hope because the only thing you've got going for you, literally the only thing that you guys have going for you, is pushing pain. I don't know if you're part of a higher calling, Paulie, but I am. I know what I'm doing. Paulie, what do you care? I mean, Paulie, this is the exact arrogance. You literally just said you have to take a minute to think about what type of message you want to convey. It's called love. It's called understanding that people are going through a process. It's understanding that if you want to show up and sit there and say, think about all the wars that this guy, whatever. There were 20 dozen other wars and fights and arguments and skirmishes along the way throughout our history. And it has never gotten us any further. Wars have never been a solution under the Biden administration, under the Trump administration, under whatever. You're asking me what I'm conveying? Making sure people don't drive off the road right now. I'm making sure people don't pick up and abandon what their path really is. I'm actually giving them a safe space because hatred, like we're seeing, is only going to get worse. I give people the conveyance of message that they're not alone. Because after all, separation and segregation is really what you're all about, isn't it? Let's look at how different everybody is. Let's send them back. Let's take the children away from the parents and make them cry. Boo-hoo. Do you literally jerk off to pain? Is that what it is? Is that what gets you off? It's a legit question because let me tell you something. It's a fetish. And you guys can't let it go. I've literally watched the Republicans over-sexualize the candidate. They have literally, from calling her out for who she dated when she was 20 years old to being like, oh yeah, she got ahead because of this. She's got a 30-year track record of public service. Donald Trump has a 30-year track record of leaving receipts on the floor saying, good luck with that. Here's a dose of honesty, Paulie. We figured you out. Figured out what you're about. And now we know what we're up against. Honestly, if Kamala walked away with this, it might have been the worst thing for the country because we wouldn't have had a dose of reality anymore. It would have been people that really espoused pain, suffering, bigotry. It would have made them go underground again. It would have meant that they went underground. You don't think we figured you out? Hold my smudge. Hold my smudge. This isn't about whether or not we're right or wrong. Don't you get it? I'm moving the goalpost. I'm making this about something bigger than what you can actually attain. While you're down here talking about God, while you're down here rewriting a book that's been rewritten no less than 400 times, calling it your own now, with the Book of Greenwood in it, while you're pushing a narrative about economy and whatever, while you shit shame people along the way, and not denouncing the idea that there's decorum along the way, trust me, we know who you are. And you have every right to be in this country along with us. You literally have the exact same rights I do. You got one vote just like I did. You literally have the power to change your mind at will, and your mind is currently stuck on this. Okay. I reserve the right to change. I reserve the right to grow with the information that I receive. I meant to grow my own destiny and in a path that I meant to. And I'm going to wish you well on yours. I know it's pretty bright out there right now. The sun always sets and the sun always rises. We figured you out, and it's okay. And maybe that's the frustration. And you're reveling in it. Here's your time. What are you going to do with it? All right, guys, I want to thank you for being a part of the journey here. By the way, that's an example on how you don't put up with it. I know you can do it too. I'm going to give you guys, shine on you crazy diamond. I'm going to give you guys a hard tap. I'm going to remind you that you are part of a path that is really kind of where you're meant to go. This cult of personality is temporary because we're all temporary. What's our mission? What's our goal? Where are we going? Is the age of Aquarius going to call through it? Let's go kick ass and take names. Let's be good people. Isn't that, by the way, the mission hasn't changed. We're supposed to be good people. We can only lead by example. It's time to go be leaders. Keep going.